so I pulled out the valve cover seal, just peeled it out. We're going to replace the spark plug tube seals, and those are the seals with the rounded sealing surface here. Well, they actually seal on the inner side. And then the flat seals are the ones that go on the coil. So those get replaced as well. You can feel that the rubber on these is kind of hard. See, this is where WD-40 is like, oh, there you go. Just get WD-40 in there and it'll slide right on. Gotta love WD-40. All right, so then just do that for each coil. Slide it back on. Yep, WD-40 is magic for that kind of thing. And then on the seals here, the seal puller tool didn't seem to do the trick, so we got actually the pry bar, and it's got it. There we go. Pry it in there, get the seal out. Then we're gonna tap in the new ones. Gonna put in the valve cover, gasket. And we're just gonna set it all up and then put it on the car. And don't forget to put some RTV on the corners. That's gonna make sure that it seals properly and doesn't leak after you put it on. And I think that's about it. All right. Gotta be careful here because this is the oil cap. I don't want to break the oil cap. It's plastic. Okay. Do. Ooh, yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's it. Next. Alright, done. The last part is we got to get all these grommets out. You might think, oh, they don't come out. No, they're stuck. Well, it's because the rubber's all hardened. You have to pry them out. There we go. Then the other fun part is the rubber's all hard now, and it has to get over this little edge here, this lip or whatever you want to call it. So it's bad enough getting the new ones on and they're soft, flexible rubber. These ones I found it's better just to cut them. And here we go. I think I got it. Yeah. So you can just cut that hard rubber. And the ring, which is still technically good, but we got new ones. So then I put like a little WD-40 on there. Anything to help it slide in. And you know, if I had like a socket, that'd probably help.
Yeah, hammer down.
Like push it with a socket.
Did you hammer it?
Oh, there we go. Well, the hammer just kind of bounces back. There you go. So one way or another, you can push it over because the new rubber is soft and flexible. And then you gotta just repeat that with all the others. So we're taking out the crank seal because it's old, and as preventative maintenance, we want to replace it. You can use a seal puller tool, which I don't know, I'm a little scared of scratching up the crankshaft with it. So I actually figured out that I could get a screwdriver in there and just pry it out. So it wasn't too hard. And yeah, without a special tool, it worked just fine. So now we'll get the new seal in. I'm just comparing to make sure that we have the same seal. Looks good. You never know if you could have picked up the wrong item. Alright, so yeah, you can tell too. You can feel the rubber is hard and nice and soft on the new one. So it's definitely a good thing to replace this. You're supposed to put a little bit of oil on the inside. Alright, putting some oil on there so it slides onto the crankshaft and goes smooth, doesn't get damaged. Alright. So actually, just by pushing on it, I got it started. So then we got this big old socket. And we're just gonna tap on it to get it all the way in and get it seated evenly. I'm probably in the way, huh? Oh, look at that. I'm in an awkward position, so I'm using the hammer all weird, but oh, it's getting there. This socket is slightly bigger than the opening.
You want to get the 36?
Oh no, it's in there. It's good. See, it's nice and even all the way around. All right, so we got a new seal. Once your seal's seated in, just put the little ring and your gear back. Just line up the little key. I don't know why this one is, there we go. It has a nice tight fit. There you go. Okay, so now we'll go up top and do the cam seal. All right, so now we're gonna do the cam seal. We got our ratchet or breaker bar ratchet, whatever, and our pulley holder tool so we can break it loose. And you gotta watch out because your cam gear is gonna maybe move a little. Okay, so we'll take that off. Whoops. Take the gear off. And then we gotta take this cover off as well, which looks like we just got one more bolt holding in it. Okay. There we go. There we go. I just push the hook inside the seal and you just carefully pull it out. Careful not to scratch the cam. And well, yeah, you can see it's hard and brittle, so I just rip right through it. There's our old seal. And we'll get our new seal and I put some oil on the sealing surface. I'll just slide this seal in. Then we got a big socket, which got a little bit of room. So a 30mm socket seems to be the good size to get this in. Oh yeah, there we go. Now it's going in better. Oh yeah, see? It actually goes in further. It was supposed to go in a lot more. See, it matches up with that angled edge. See, now it's all nice and even. Yep, that's it. It's all the way in. So now we'll put the little cover back on. Just careful of those seals. Oh, this seal is swelled up. Got oil on it, probably from the valve cover leaking. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now we can put the gear on. All right, so we got our cover in place. Now we can put our gear back. You just gotta line up the key, put the groove on the camshaft, and then put your bolt back and torque it down. Yeah, this should be good. So now we're gonna put our new water pump in. Get the seal, just presses in. Just make sure it's secured and doesn't want to fall out. And then you gotta position your water pump with that big opening where the plastic clip went in was on that end. And then don't forget your shorter bolt goes right here. The rest are longer bolts. So we'll set it in place. There we go. Okay. You gotta just find where the bolt goes in, and that's it. Okay. So we're just gonna tighten down the water pump bolts. Okay, and then clip that piece in. Yeah, there we go. Okay, see, now we can actually put the belt on, make sure everything's lined up. To clean up all this mess, just using a little brake clean. Don't want to get oil on the, I don't know where it's ending up on that mat. Don't want to get oil on the belt. Plus it looks ugly. Oh, look at that. Cleaning up some of that oil pan leak. Alright, so we're going to set up the tensioner here. There is the spring, which you can see says up. So you want to make sure that that's headed in the upward direction. And then, so we're going to go ahead and get the tensioner threaded into the block. But we're not going to tighten it down yet because we got to put the belt on and set the tension. Now we'll put the belt on. Maybe we do cam gear last. Oh, there we go. Works out that way. And then see the loose side is here, and then the tensioner is going to pull that tight. So I think we're okay. See, it sucks because the belt's in the way of checking the mark down at the bottom. It's kind of crappy. But yeah, so there it is. So we're going to pull the spring. Yeah, see? Wow, see, there you go. You can see it go tight. All right, so let's put the spring on. Yeah, there we go. All right, check that out. Belt's all set up. So we got our timing belt on and tensioned. We're gonna torque the bolt down on the tensioner. We're double checking that the alignment marks are level and the up is, well, of course, on the upside. So everything looks good. It's hard to see the alignment mark on the crank gear, how it compares to the arrow on the oil pump back there. So once we tension or tighten the tensioner, you don't actually have to pull the pin yet. You can put the lower cover over and then put the pulley on and check the mark that's on the pulley. And then that will be your double check before you pull the pin. So it's a pretty cool feature. There's actually an opening in the cover where you can actually sit it over that pin and not actually release it before you double check your timing marks. Pretty cool setup in a way. All right, we're checking the alignment on the belt. There's a notch here and there's an arrow in the back. So when those are lined up, then your crankshaft is in the right position. So tighten this tensioner. Okay. Then we can put the lower cover on. Pop the little cap out. Pulling the cap out. I will remove this just to be safe and not to damage it. But in case you removed it, don't forget to put the crank sensor back. There's a pin at the bottom and a bolt at the top. So make sure the pin aligns into the oil pump and then tighten your bolt on the top. All right. I might hold it back a little bit. I don't want it to touch the gear. That would not be good. There we go. All right, and I took the little plug for the tensioner pin out so we can put this all back on and do our timing belt alignment double check and then pull the pin. All right, so then we got our mounting bolts on top. One there, one on the side. All right, so don't put this bolt in yet because the top cover is going to go over and this longer bolt's going to go through both of them. Oops, not into the sensor, in there. Oh, we'll pretend that's doing something. Alright, so now we're going to put the pulley back. Can't forget to put the key into the slot. And there we go. Then we're going to align the notch in the pulley. Set it back up in there. Careful not to knock the key out. There we go. Okay. Put the bolt back. Alright, now let's rotate it and see. Make sure everything's still aligned if we rotated the engine a couple times. Alright, so now we're doing our timing double check, and here's the white 0 mark and the little pointer right there, so those are lined up. And then when that is in alignment, then the mark on the back of the cam should be level with the top of the head. And so we're going to show you that. Alright, so I hope you guys can see this, but there's a little notch right there in the back of the cam gear. And when it's level with the top surface of the head, or the sealing surface, or the valve cover, whatever you want to call that, then you're in alignment. So what we did was we rotated by hand the engine, which of course you got to do that counterclockwise on this Honda. And so after rotating the crankshaft twice, which equals 1 rotation on the cam, we got the white mark back at the pointer. Check the mark in the back, that's aligned with the head, so we're good to go. We can pull this pin now. Oh! Alright. Well, the pin's out. Alright, so then we're going to put the cover back over where the retaining pin was. I don't know, this might be easier with some WD-40, but... Dude, hate this thing. Doesn't want to start threading in. Okay, that one's actually going in. Alright, the bracket's back. And there we go. Ah. It's like, just barely gets in there, but it works. Alright, long alternator bolt, all smoothed out. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah. Come on, bolt. Ooh, I think that did it. And we gotta put the wire back on. Now you gotta get the little nut for it. Oh, yeah, there we go. So it's a little tiny 10 millimeter. Alright. And just slide the little boot over it and plug in the wire. There we go. Push that boot on. There we go. Alright, so now we're putting on our alternator and air conditioning belt. I wrapped it around the bottom, which would be the air conditioning compressor and the crankshaft. And we're getting it onto the alternator pulley. New belt's a tight fit. Oh, jeez. There you go, just a little wiggle action. Aha, okay. Alright, now we got it in place. And then we gotta adjust the tensioner. Don't want to over tighten it. Oh yeah, that's probably already tight enough. Yeah, that's good. This thing can definitely over tighten that. Alright, so I put some tension on it. Let's check it at the bottom. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Alright, so now we can lock it in place, which is the 14 millimeter right here. Okay. Then we also got to lock the tensioner bolt down below. Okay. Now it's locked down. I think we're good on that belt. Alright, so now we're putting the top cover on. There's a shorter bolt that goes, so there's two different bolts. Shorter one goes here, longer one goes right down there. It's longer because it's going through the front and the back cover. Oh yeah, then there's that one. There's also one more. That's why I have another one in my hand. Oh yeah. Ooh, just enough room for that one. Looks good. Alright, and then we gotta, of course, plug in our cam sensor. Shove the plug into the cover. So now we're gonna put the power steering back. Alright, let's start with the top bolt. And then there's the bracket. Can't forget the bracket where the tensioner goes. Alright, so you gotta position the little support bracket properly and then put in the tensioner wing nut bolt. Okay, then we gotta do the bottom, which is this weird bolt with a hexagon shape and a round head. You're not gonna put a wrench on it, you're just gonna slide it through. Oh, yeah, okay. If I can get my hand in there. Here we go, come on. Yeah. All right. Let's see how bad it is to do it second. That's not that bad. Alright, so it clips in at the bottom and then the bolt goes above that. And it's a 12 millimeter. Alright, so we'll tighten that bracket down. So that's how that fits. Next we'll get the dry belt set up. Alright, so now we're going to do the power steering belt. Let's get it around that crankshaft. And, oh, that was pretty easy. Alright, so now we gotta, man, you can't even do this with the power tool. Because I've been turning it off and on. I think that'll be good. Alright, so now we got tension on the power steering. Then we need to lock it down. We've got the 12mm nut back here. And then we got 12mm nut down below. Alright, there we go. Alright, so then we gotta pull the reservoir back out of the way so we can get the mount in here. These three. Finally almost done with the front of the engine. Then we get to do the top. Alright. Tighten these down. Okay. Aha, there we go. Ah. Okay, and then bam. Oh man. Then you gotta slide that one back. All right, now we gotta move to the top of the engine. So I've cleaned the sealing surface for the valve cover, and in the little corners where the cam is, we gotta put a little bit of RTV, or this is the fancy Honda Bond, which I think is drying up. But we're just gonna put a little bit in each corner because those are the spots where it's prone to leaking. There we go. I think I need some Metamucil. Alright, that should be enough. Just gotta get it in here. Yeah, okay. That'll be good enough. Then I'm just gonna take a little brake cleaner and clean up the gasket. Can you see that? Yeah. Just gonna clean up the gasket because I was handling it with greasy hands. And just want it to be clean so it seals well. Okay, that should work. Right now, oh, and make sure the hole right here lines up because that's where your dipstick has to go through. So now we just need to work it back into its home. Oh yeah. All right. I'm gonna assume that's lined up, I guess. Okay. So then we're gonna, yeah, so now that we slid the cover under the harness, which seemed to be the way to go. Oops, no. Long ones go over here. There you go. You gotta kind of wiggle them around until they find their home. There you go. You can feel it once it starts threading in. The front ones are maybe a little easier to line up. There we go. All right. Gonna tighten these down. These tighten down till they hit that little lip, so that's where they stop, and there you go. That was exciting. All right, so then let's see, this hooks, oh jeez, onto there. All right, so now we gotta line up these wiring harnesses. This one goes onto there, and then these should line up. All right. Let's see, before I tighten this down, it'd be nice to put the coils in. We got a little more room to plug them in. While we're in here, we're gonna change the spark plugs. And let's see, we'll pull one out so you can see our spark plug sockets. Trying to do the full tune-up here. There we go. Ew. Doesn't look too bad, but they're old. Time to change them. All right, so we torqued down our spark plugs, put a little anti-seize on them as well because we don't want them freezing up in there. Also, we're gonna put a little dielectric grease in here and put our coil in, plug it in, slide it in position, and just repeat that with the rest of them. One more. Nope. This one's a little more tight fit. All right. Start with the acorn now. We gotta bolt that down. Should we turn audio off? Ah, it did the timeout thing again. Why does it do that?
Alright. I think we're done with this.
I don't know, man. It was recording, and it does that.
Just recording now.
I don't care why it does that. I just turned it on, that's all I did. Then we got this support bracket for the AC line. There we go. Well, now it works. That's good. Oh, put my old cap back. Still gotta get one more bolt down here. we go. Oh, now we need to realize that we should have put the throttle cable on. Okay. Then we just got to put the airbox back. Oh, there you go. Okay. Put this little clamp in here. Yep, screwdriver. Where did the D4? Got rubber. So we got our spill-free funnel, and we're gonna fill it up with some genuine Honda coolant now that our water pump's bolted down. Alright, we're wrapping up our timing belt job here. We started up the car, topped off the coolant. Well, of course, first thing we did is reconnect our battery, and then started it up, topped off the coolant. Before we started, actually wanted to double check all the electrical connections because it's easy to forget something like this coolant sensor right here that we disconnected. The air intake temperature sensor got disconnected, cam sensor got unplugged. All our brackets, support brackets are bolted down, and yeah, we fired it up. Everything's good. And did I forget anything?
Thermostat will do it next time.
Oh yeah, next video we're going to do it this time, but we're going to change the thermostat, and yeah, we'll show you how to on that. Other than that, I think we're good. Got no belt squeaks. All our fluid levels are good. The reservoir is way down there. You might need to use a flashlight to shine down and check the maximum. It's way down there under the battery, so make sure your reservoir also has enough fluid. Yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up.